Hello everyone, thank you again for watching my videos. Today we are going to discuss these three test cases here, and we are going to implement these test cases using Selenium WebDriver and testNG. And as you can see that we have these three test cases here, and I'm going to explain how you can identify objects like radio button and drop down list. So my main focus will be to explain you how you can identify a radio button and also how you can select an item from a drop down. So let me go to the Eclipse here. So if you take a look here, as you can see from this document, I have three test cases: positive login, negative login, and marketing booking process, right? So for these three test cases, if you take a look at my Eclipse, right, I already explained in the previous video, right? So I have three test case. So wherever you see that something started with @test annotation, that means this will be a test case for positive login. Again, I have another test case for negative login. I didn't implement the steps yet, but I just have a one step. And as you can see that I have made this test case disabled, so that I only execute this test case, because I have steps here but I do not have steps here in this one. So I have again, in summary, I have three test cases. I have written some steps for test case 1. Basically this, like, positive login is up to this register link, input value in the username, yep, and then input value for password and click on login button, right? So up to this is positive login. So you have one more step after that, right? If you look at this document, after that you have to verify this flight finder. So now I'm writing some steps for this test case, for this one, okay, where we are going through the booking process. So if I go back to my Eclipse, let's say I'm going to take all of these steps out of here, and then I'm going to put all of these steps here, right? Booking process. Now this one, right, click on login button and select one radio button. I'll keep this over there, and I do not need this here. And I'm not going to execute this test case at this point, so I'll put enabled equal to false, right? And then I'll be coming here in the booking process. I need this one. I'm going to execute this one, enabled equal to true. Okay, and this other two test cases I have disabled, so they will not be executed, only this one will be executed. Now what I am doing here, right, and what I am doing before that, right, what I am doing, this is the test case. Before that test case, I have the block of code. Can you see? Before test, right? So this block of code will be executed before the @test annotations, right? So I'm doing some work before test, and I'm doing some works after test. As you can see here, after test, what I'm doing, I'm closing the browser. Before test, what I'm doing some preliminary work, doing some initial work. So as you can see that I have called this method. How did I call this method? This method is written inside another class. What is that class? Can you see? Lib class. I have created an object of this lib class, lib object, and inside that lib class I have this do initial work method. Okay, so many of you have asked me question why I have declared this variable, right? Let me make it straightforward for you. I'm not going to declare this variable. I'm going to remove this variable. I'm going to put it back to your already known syntax. So this is the, like, I want to run my test case in Chrome driver, and that is where my Chrome driver is located in my computer. So I am removing lot of your confusion, right? So now I do not need this to statement. I do not need this base URL as well. Instead of the base URL, I'm going to put direct. I'm going to put the URL here. What is the URL that we are going to automate? Let me do an undo. This is the URL, right? So this variable, you guys ask me a lot of questions in the class why these variables are, right? I'm going to remove this variable, and here I'm going to directly open the application. I'm going to put it in the double quotation, right? And I do not need so here, right here, I do not need this two line. Let me remove this. Let me make it straightforward, right? Now, so here do initial works. I have the only reason I have declared this WebDriver out of this method so that I can use this WebDriver in the other method to interact with the browser objects, right? So as you can see that I have my system set property with the Chrome driver and the path. The whole path is wherever in your drive is your Chrome driver.exe, you are going to use that path. Now, so in initial works, what I did, I have set up the property for my WebDriver, and then I have assigned the variable with Chrome driver, right? And then in the open, I have an if you take a look here, I have an open application. Inside open application, what I did, I have just used that WebDriver object to open the application, right? And then I have subsequent methods. What are those methods? Verify sign on link, and then verify register link, and then input value for username, input value for password, and click on login button and select one-way radio button. This is for positive login. For positive login, you do not need this select radio button. Here you need another step. What is that? You need a step to if you look at this test case, right, you need to verify. For positive login, you need to verify this flight finder, right? So I'm going to put it here, right code to verify the flight finder. Okay, now let's go back to the booking process. In the booking process, again I'll have to open application, verify sign on link. I have to do all of these things, and when I'm logged in, then I need to click on. So when let's go to this application. According to the test case, I need to go to NewTours website, and then I need to log in by this credential, right? Once I'm logged in, then I need to select this one-way radio button, and then I am going to select two from here. You can select whatever you like, right? I'm going to select one-way, and I'm going to select two. So I'm going to explain the code that we have written here. So first of all, can you see this open application function is inside this class, right? What we did, we opened the application by this WebDriver, and then we have verified the sign on link, right? If you go to this control and click, right, what we did, verify sign on link, we have declared an object, and that sign on link, right, if you take a look, we have identified that this is a link. If you go there, let me log off, let me go to this application. So if you come here, this sign on link, if you inspect it, right, if you inspect it, you will see that this is a means this is a link, and it has text, link text. What is that? Sign up. Now let's go back there. We have identified that object by link text, and then we have a highlighted method here, as you can see here. right? I have declared an object of this class. I have a class CLS utility methods, inside which, right, if you go back to this CLS utility method, right, I have a class CLS utility methods, and inside that one I have a highlighter class. By highlighter class I am highlighting objects, right? I'm highlighting objects, and let's put 4 pixel. Okay, now so when I will call this highlighter method, as you can see, I'll have to supply the driver and I'll have to supply an web element, right? Now let's go back there. So what I did here, that sign on link, I have called that highlighter method, I have supplied the web driver, and I have supplied that object, right, link, and then it will be highlighting it, and after that I'm checking if that object is displayed. If it is displayed, right, if it is displayed, I'm giving a message, right, and that's it. That is what I'm supposed to do inside this method. And the next method is verify register link. It is same way I verified the register link. If you take a look here, verify register link, the same way I have verified the register link, same way I have highlighted it, I did everything. And then in the next method, input a value for username. Let's go to that method. So what we did for inputting value, we have printed a message, and then we have identified that object by XPath. And what I did, let me show you what I did here. So if you inspect this object, inspect, now can you see this is what is the tag input, and then it has an attribute name. Can you see this name, right? Can you see this equal sign? Before that equal sign, this is your attribute, this is your attribute value, this is your attribute name, this is your attribute value, this is your tag name. Input is your tag name, this name as is your attribute name, and this username is your attribute value. Now let's go to our code. So I have identified that object by XPath, and what did I put it? This is the tag name. What is the tag name? The tag name is input, and we have what is the attribute name, and what is the value, username. So then we did a verification. If it displayed, if the result equal to true, then I'm highlighting it. Again I'm supplying the browser and the object, right? And then I'm sending a value to the text box. So this is a text box. Text box has an attribute send keys. By send keys you can write values. Can you see I'm writing automate code 1 in that text box. So you know, username text box is displayed. If it is not displayed, I'm giving a message here. Same way I have identified the password, and I have input the password by send keys method, and then I have clicked on login button. Again this login button is an input, and it has attribute name login, and then I did the highlight and I have clicked on that login button. Now select one way radio button. That is where you have asked me question in the class. Now let's say when you log in, right, when you log in, can you see I need to select this one way radio button. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on this one way radio button and inspect. Can you see this is an input, right? This is a, what is the tag name? This is an input, and then what is, I'm going to identify that. Can you see this value one way, right? I'm going to identify that tag by value one way. You got it? So why I am not identifying that object by, can you see there is a name, trip type, right? Why I am not identifying that object by name, trip type? This is an attribute as well. Why? Because if you inspect this one, right, notice what like for that one way, what is the attribute that I have? Name, trip type. So if you inspect this one, inspect, right, you will see name, trip type. That means both of this radio button has same name. So that's why I am not using this name for identifying that object, and instead I'm using something else. What is that? I'm using this value attribute to identify that object. Value equal to 108. Now if you go there, right here, you will see that I have used that XPath input value 108 to identify that object, and if this object is displayed, I'm clicking on it. So that means radio button, you identify radio button in the same way you identify link, text box or other objects. Radio button is you identify it in the same way. Then my next goal is to go there and select a value from this drop down list. So this is a different element. You need to identify this element in a different way. It will not work the previous way we have identified. It will not work in that way. So in Selenium we call this object as select, right? Select. So if you see something like this, all of these are drop down, so you'll have to identify this is a radio button. You'll be able to identify that radio button by this way, the way we have identified this one way, but all of this drop down here you'll have to identify the way that I am explaining now. So my goal from this drop down to select 2. Okay, can you see it has, this is the first item, this is the second item, this is the third item, this is the fourth item, right? And this item has value 1, this item has value 2, 3, 4. Now let's go back to the code. If you take a look, select one way radio button, select one way radio button. How I am doing it? So this one already I did it. Now the select value from passenger drop down, that is where the new thing that you are learning. Now you can see that it is a select. Now when you have drop down, can you see up to this, right? Up to this it is same Chrome driver, find element by XPath, right? And then what I did, if you inspect this object, so as you can see, this is a select and it has a name pass count, right? It has a name pass count. So what I did here, Chrome driver, find element by XPath, the tag name is select and it has a name pass count. Up to this is good. So that type of object you will have to write it in this way. Can you see? Select is a class. I am defining an object. I am giving it any name of that object, and then new, and then select, right? So let me remove this. So okay, so what is happening here? Can you see? When you have a drop down list, you will be defining something like this: select and give any name, and then new, select, right? You write up to this. So select and then declare an object, and then new, select, and here you are going to write your actual code. How you are going to write your, so what is your driver? This is your driver, right? So what I am going to do, Chrome drb dot find element by, right? Here I'm going to say by dot what? By dot XPath, right? Now what is the XPath? Here I am going to give the expression. What is my expression? Let's bring the expression. So my expression is, if I paste the other statement here, right? So as you can see, if you want to identify object, you will have to put it in a double quotation, and then this, right? And then now let's go there. What is the tag name here? Select. What is the tag name? This is the tag name, select. And what is the attribute? I'm going to use name. What is the value that I'm going to use? This. I'm going to copy this, pass count, right? So my tag name is select, I'm going to use attribute name. Let's go there. So here, right, what is my tag name? Select. What is my tag name? Select. And then put your pair of box bracket, and inside the box bracket, right, you have provided the double slash and then tag name and your box bracket. Now at the rate, what is your attribute name? Name. And what is the value of that attribute? Is this. Now this value will have to be in the single quotation. This value will have to be in the single quotation. You got it? So that is how, when you have a drop down list, that is how you write the description. Now I have the object here. So can you see here? I have, like, you can identify, you can select a value in different way. Let's say that select by visible text. What it will do, if you select by visible text, let's say if you want to select, that drop down has 1 2 3 4, you want to select 4, you say select by visible text. And then there is another way to visible text. Means, let's say that if you go there, this drop down has all of this text. If you want to select Paris, if you want to select it by visible text, you will be putting Paris here, right? By visible text, you will be putting Paris in the double quotation. In this one, we have 1 2 3 4. If you want to select 1 2 3 4 any of the value, you put the value. If you want to select it by visible text. So there are other ways to identify object in this one. So if you come here and if you say, let me put, if you say pass count, or actually this one, right, this is the object, you can identify object in a different way as well. Dot select. Now can you see select by index? So if you put select by index, then actually, right, this argument, this index can be now if you go back there, the index of, let's say if you look at this one, right, the index of Acapulco is 1, the index of this is 2, index of this one is 3, the index of this one is 4, in this way, index goes. So the first item is 1 in this way, right? So if you want to select 2 from here, then you will have to provide index 2, right? So if you go there, if you want to select in this by index, you will have to select it by this way. Whatever, let's say if you want to select 4, then you have to provide 4 here. Then we have another way, dot select by, there are multiple way you can select. So this two way basically you use select by index and select by visible text, right? Select by index or select by visible text. Now you will see that, let's say I'm going to select 2 passenger, right, and then here I'm going to provide a weight, red dot slip. Red dot slip, how many second I'm going to wait? I'm going to wait 5000 seconds. 5000 millisecond. 5000 millisecond means 5 seconds. Okay. Now, actually, red dot slip 5 seconds. Now you will have to click here and then add throw, right? There is a throw added here. Okay. Now you will see first it will be selecting 4 by visible text and then it will be selecting 2 by index, right? So let me execute it. So it's showing that there is a error here. Let me see what is that error it is pointing out. So here caller object, so select from passenger drop down, so it is complaining unhandled exception. So we'll have, what we'll have to do, if you use this thread dot slip anywhere, then we are calling this method, right? Then what we will have to do, we'll have to click here and we'll have to bring add throws. Can you see it will be adding throws here, right? Now if you execute it, it is executing. You will see that it will be executing this test case, and right, can you see it has selected 4 here, 4, right? And then after waiting 5 seconds, now it has selected index 2. Index 2 means index starts from 0, right? If you put index 2, then it will be selecting 2. Okay, let's go there. So if you come here, if you put index 0, then it will be selecting 1. Let's put index 0, and then let's do another execution. So first it will be selecting 4, and then it will be selecting 1. Right, it is inputting the value, logging in, and then it has selected 4, as you can see here, right? And then it will be selecting 1. Can you see? So that's how you can select value from a drop down by visible text and by index. If you select by index, then your index first item will be index 0, second item will be index 1, and if you select by visible text, then whatever text, whatever value you want to select, you will have to put that value here. Okay, now let's say we want to select 3, and then we want to select 2. So the index for 2 is 1. So if I execute it, so it has selected 3, and then it will be selecting 2, right? We are good. So let's go back. Now if you take a look at your here, which test case verify Mercury booking process, that is what we have executed. Now we do not need to select, we do not need this visible text, and then we want to select 2 passenger. Then I'm going to write another method to select. I'm going to write another method to select what? I'm going to write a method to select this value. Can you see? I'm going to select city from here. Let's say I'm going to select New York. How will I? Well, so if I select by visible text, it will be New York. If I select by index, then 0, 1, 2, 3. Index will be 3. Now let's do inspect on this object. Again, this is a from port. This is a select, and what is the attribute that we are going to use? Name. And what is the value of that name? From port. So if I go back to my code, I have already copied select value from city drop down, right? I do not need this. I do not have a wait statement, so I do not need this. So now select a value from city drop down, right? And then same way, right? This is from city TD, and how I am going to, again it is a select name, and what is the name value of that object? The value of that object is, the value of that attribute is from port, right? Let's go to my code. I'm going to put it here, from port, and then I have the object, right? Now what value I want to select? I want to select New York, right? So if you select by visible text, right, what is the text do you see there? Yeah, you got it. So New York. So let me just call this method from there. Right, let me call libotj dot. Right, let's do an execution. Right, is selecting two passenger, and then from that departing from, can you see it has selected New York, right? And then it should be done. It has selected New York, right? So let's go back. So let me change something here. I'm not going to give it as dotted, instead I'm going to give dest, right? And then let's go there in the lib class. Instead of by visible text, I'm going to select, let's say, this object, and then this object dot select by index. Let's say that we want to select, instead of New York, we want to select Sydney. Now what is the index for Sydney? Index start from 0. So this is the first city, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The index for Sydney is 8, right? So I'm going to go to my code. Here I'm going to give 8, right? Now if I execute, you will see that it will be, first it will be selecting New York, and then it will be selecting this Sydney, right? So let's do an from port. I do not need this. Let me remove this. Actually, what I'm doing here, passenger, right? So I have the code. Okay, that's fine. Select from city drop down, and okay. So let me do the execution. So it is logging in, and then it is selecting, can you see it has selected New York, and then it has selected Sydney. So you just need to select one city. I am just showing you how you can select multiple different city by index and by their value. Now if you take a look at the output here, right, I'm keeping track of what I'm doing. I'm doing sign on, verify it, everything is been printed here, right? If it fails, it will show you appropriate. You can come here and see what message it is showing, and you can take appropriate step. So that is how you are going to select a drop down, an item from a drop down list, right? So that's all. That is what I wanted to discuss today. You will be completing this test case, all of these 3 test case, by using testNG, and make sure that it is ready before our next class. And again, I made it simplified here. Hopefully you will have lesser questions now, because it is your favorite statement, right? So you put everything here instead of in variable. I have removed those variable. It is now a straightforward syntax, right? So but feel free, if you still having issue in understanding this code, I'm going to put all of this code in that document, right? So that you do not have in this document, I'm going to put this code, and you will be able to ask me question, and you can copy the code from here, but first you understand the code, right? So these are the code that we have corrected. So I'm going to put this code from our lib class directly here, and you will be, and I'll be sharing this document with you. Yeah. I'll be sharing this document with you so that you can take help from here. Okay. All of the code are here. Alright, so again, if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me. So this code basically, this is our library class. As you can see, this is our library class, right? And then let me put the remaining method. Actually, let me copy this code from here as well. This is our caller class. This is our caller class, right? Going to put this caller class code here. Right. So I'm going to share this document with you. So please complete all of this work and understand it. If you do not understand, again I'm asking you, reach out to me or take help from your classmate. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.